If you step forward now, the year will meet you halfway. There's something rare about this supermoon. It carries the feeling of a silent deal being placed in front of you. Not a warning, not a test, but an invitation. It's what I call the lunar contract. The idea that if you take even one step forward in this window, the entire year rearranges to support that direction. This moon doesn't respond to intentions the way people expect. It responds to movement. It rewards initiative, not wishful thinking. Every action you take under this moon echoes louder than usual. This is why tonight's energy feels like it's paying attention. It notices when you choose. Even the smallest symbolic step, sending a message, starting a task you've avoided, saying yes to something that scares you, becomes the spark that sets off a chain reaction. The lunar contract is simple. If you cross the energetic line, this moon opens, the rest of 2026 accelerates in ways that feel almost too perfectly timed. Doors open quickly. Support shows up in unexpected places. You'll feel the year shift from passive to responsive, as if it finally recognizes what direction you're trying to go. And here's the part almost no one talks about. This contract isn't given often. It only appears when a supermoon sits this close, this early in the year, creating a rare moment where your choices carry far more weight than usual. But the real question isn't whether the contract is real, it's whether you're going to take the step that activates it. Under this supermoon, nothing drifts. Everything responds. One of the wildest things about this supermoon portal is how quickly reality reacts to what you do today. The energy doesn't move in slow motion anymore. There's a very real sense that every decision, every step, every tiny choice gets mirrored back to you almost instantly. It's like the universe removed the buffering time. If you move towards something aligned, the path feels smoother right away. If you make a choice that isn't quite right, you feel the resistance within minutes instead of weeks. This isn't punishment, it's feedback, and that difference matters. Because tonight, you're not being judged, you're being guided. Energy doesn't correct you, it redirects you. This portal creates a kind of hyper-clarity that people don't get very often. You'll notice yourself doing something simple, sending a message, taking a risk, choosing a direction, and right after, there's an immediate internal response. Either it feels like a clean yes, or your whole body quietly says no. There's no gray area, no dragging uncertainty. Things click, or they don't. For a lot of people, this will feel strangely empowering. Normally, life leaves you guessing. You try something and wait days or weeks to see whether it was the right move. But under this moon, that hesitation window disappears. Reality starts answering you in real time. That job opportunity either moves toward you or fades. That person either matches your effort or pulls back. That idea either feels alive or empty. It's like the universe is running on fast forward, showing you exactly what's aligned without wasting your time. Alignment becomes obvious when hesitation can't survive the moment. This is why people may feel a sudden sense of direction tonight. They're not overthinking anymore. They're observing the immediate yes or no that the portal reveals. And once you feel this level of clarity, it's hard to go back to the old slow-moving timelines. But the real beauty is that this fast cause and effect doesn't just apply to external reality. It's happening inside you just as quickly, and that's where the real shift begins. Some things don't leave because you heal them, they leave because you outgrow them. This supermoon brings a very specific emotional shift that people don't expect. It's not a heavy purge, not a breakdown. It's quieter than that. It's cleaner than that. It's an emotional recalibration, like your internal system suddenly updates its priorities without asking your permission. People may notice that things that used to bother them simply don't land the same way. Someone's comment doesn't sting like it used to. A fear that once felt loud now feels strangely distant. Expectations you used to carry start slipping off your shoulders without a fight. It's not numbness, it's clarity. The emotional weight you thought you had to battle through just feels unnecessary. This is what happens when you grow internally without noticing it. Outgrowing is the quietest form of transformation. This moon highlights the places where you've matured without even trying. Old insecurities don't have the same grip because you're not standing in the same emotional place anymore. Old patterns feel boring instead of tempting. Old anxieties feel out of character. You're not forcing anything, you're simply different. It's the kind of reset that feels like waking up lighter than you were yesterday, even if nothing dramatic happened. A calm confidence begins to settle in, not because you had a breakthrough, but because something outdated in you finally fell away. It's emotional minimalism, a clean slate without the chaos. And this reset opens a surprising door. When your emotional baseline rises, your reality begins to match it. The things you attract shift. The way people respond to you shifts. The opportunities that find you shift. You begin to move through life with a kind of ease that wasn't accessible before. But this emotional shift is only one part of what this supermoon is doing. Because after the reset comes the moment where life starts presenting you with new pathways you didn't even realize were.
If it feels bare, make it cozy. If it feels cold,
Possible. This supermoon isn't slowing you down. It's putting your life on fast forward. One of the most unexpected things about this supermoon is how it shifts the pace of everything around you. Most lunar events try to pull people inward, slow them down, make them reflect and analyze and sit with their feelings. But this one doesn't move that way at all. Instead of slowing the year, it speeds it up. It's a momentum-based moon, and you can feel it in the way life starts responding faster than usual. Decisions that normally take weeks suddenly take hours. Plans that were stuck in limbo feel like they're pushed into motion. People who were waiting for signs feel like the signs are practically grabbing them by the shoulders. This acceleration shows up in all kinds of ways. For some, it's noticing that conversations progress faster, opportunities appear earlier than expected, or old delays suddenly vanish. Things that were supposed to take months begin unfolding in days. The pace of manifestation feels compressed, almost like the universe is folding time to get certain things into position quicker. For others, it's an internal speed up, thinking more clearly, connecting dots faster, knowing what they want without needing to question it for days on end. The usual mental fog that January brings disappears, replaced by a clarity that pushes people toward action rather than contemplation. What makes this interesting is that the acceleration doesn't feel chaotic. It feels aligned. It's not rushing you, it's matching you. The supermoon amplifies the paths that are meant to open and makes the wrong paths fall away quicker, so you're not wasting energy. It becomes easier to choose because the timeline doesn't leave you hanging. You get instant confirmation, instant support, instant redirection. Momentum is the universe's way of moving you toward what was already waiting for you. And that's exactly what tonight activates. You may find that plans fall into place faster. People respond quicker. Opportunities that were always someday suddenly show up as now. This is why so many people will feel like they finally stepped into the year, not because they forced themselves into action, but because the energy itself is carrying them forward. This supermoon isn't cleansing your past, it's accelerating your future. It's pushing you into the chapter you were meant to enter, without the usual resistance that makes everything feel sticky or slow. And this acceleration has a purpose. It's not random speed. It's the universe trying to bring something back into your life that you didn't even realize was missing. You're not going backwards. You're reclaiming the parts of yourself you left behind. This supermoon portal is doing something incredibly rare. It's not resurfacing old emotions, old wounds, or old problems. Instead, it's pulling forward something far more valuable: abandoned brilliance. The ideas you once had but never pursued. The gifts you hid because life got too busy. The passions you loved but convinced yourself you didn't have time for. The talents that were natural to you but never fully explored. This moon is bringing those pieces back, not to remind you of what you lost, but to remind you of what you still carry. People may feel sudden impulses to revisit things they used to love: painting, writing, studying, creating, building, designing, dreaming. Not in a nostalgic way, but in a "why did I ever stop doing this" kind of way. It's the sensation of stumbling onto a version of yourself that always existed beneath the responsibilities and distractions of life. And instead of feeling like regression, it feels like recognition. Your brilliance doesn't disappear. It waits for you to remember it. This moon makes that remembrance impossible to ignore. For some, this comes through old talents resurfacing with surprising strength, like muscle memory waking up after years of silence. For others, it's an idea from years ago reappearing with fresh relevance, almost as if the timing back then wasn't right. But tonight, it finally is. This isn't the universe dragging you backwards. It's the universe saying, you were meant to become this sooner, but you get to become it now. What makes this portal so powerful is that it gives people access to a second chance timeline. A version of life where the ideas you abandoned finally get the attention they deserved. A path where the talents you ignored finally get to shape something meaningful. A future where the version of you that never got the chance to exist is finally allowed to step forward. This is why tonight feels both familiar and new. You're not discovering something, you're recovering something. You're meeting the version of yourself that was always meant to emerge. And the supermoon is making sure they don't slip away this time. When the moon gets closer, people don't just notice you, they feel you. One of the most powerful but least talked about effects of a supermoon this close is how dramatically it amplifies personal magnetism. Not physical attraction, not surface level aesthetics, but presence. The invisible field around you that determines how people respond, how opportunities find you, and how easily life begins bending in your direction. This supermoon portal opens a window where your energy becomes more noticeable, more memorable, and more impactful without you doing anything extra. It's the shift where you walk into a room or a conversation and you're perceived differently, even if nothing about your outer life has changed. This amplification isn't loud or flashy, it's subtle, but it's powerful. People may realize that others are suddenly paying closer attention to what they say. Their ideas land harder. Their opinions carry more weight. Someone who normally blends into the background may find that they're being acknowledged in unexpected ways. This isn't random. It's the universe placing a spotlight on your timeline so the right people can see you at the right moment. Magnetism isn't about pulling things in, it's about becoming impossible to overlook. And that is exactly what this portal activates. Socially, this can show up as new people being drawn to your presence, old connections re-evaluating you with fresh eyes, or opportunities emerging simply because your frequency stands out more than usual. Spiritually, you may feel more aligned in your interactions, as if conversations become deeper, more meaningful, more intentional. Professionally, this can manifest as recognition, praise, or being chosen for roles or projects that previously felt out of reach. The supermoon makes the world notice your trajectory before you even announce it. This magnetism shift also makes life feel more cooperative. Things that used to require force suddenly begin flowing. People are more receptive. Doors open with less effort. Even strangers seem to treat you differently, sensing something they can't quite explain. The energy around you becomes more coherent, more magnetic, more attractive in the truest sense. It's the kind of shift that sets the tone for the rest of the year, because once your presence expands, your reality adjusts to match it. This supermoon is highlighting you, not your flaws, not your anxieties, but your potential, and the world is responding accordingly. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the moment you stop negotiating with it. The greatest gift of this supermoon is the surge of courage it injects into people who have been standing on the edge of something important but haven't moved. This lunar portal doesn't encourage recklessness, it inspires rightful boldness, the kind of bravery that comes from realizing you're tired of hesitating, tired of postponing the things you've wanted for years, tired of living in the waiting room of your own potential. This is the moment when people feel a sudden internal shift from maybe one day to why not now. This courage isn't forced. It arrives naturally, like a quiet but undeniable wave of certainty. You may wake up and feel ready to take a step you've avoided, whether that's starting something new, ending something stagnant, speaking up, committing, or finally admitting what you truly want. The fear doesn't disappear, it just loses its authority. Your desire becomes louder than your doubt. When courage rises, fear doesn't vanish. It simply stops being the narrator. And under this supermoon, that narrator finally goes silent. People might notice themselves making decisions they used to overthink, saying yes to opportunities they once felt unprepared for, or taking actions that previously felt intimidating. This isn't impulsiveness, it's alignment. It's the realization that the version of you you're becoming can no longer tolerate the limitations of who you used to be. The supermoon provides the energetic push that bridges that gap, making the leap feel less like a risk and more like a requirement. This courage surge also activates a chain reaction. Once you take one brave step, the next one becomes easier. Confidence starts to compound. You begin trusting yourself in ways you haven't before. You begin recognizing that your potential isn't theoretical, it's accessible. And the moment that clicks, your timeline shifts. The choices you make during this window can set off changes that shape the rest of the year. If magnetism is the energy that draws the right things toward you, courage is the force that helps you step toward them. Together, they create a powerful opening, one that only appears when the moon rises this close, this early, with this level of intensity. This is the kind of courage that rewrites futures. And tonight, it belongs to you.
Being beautiful. Let's be honest. What could be more important?
Clarity isn't something you chase during this supermoon. It's something that arrives uninvited and sits right in front of you. One of the most defining features of this supermoon is that it removes the gray area from your life. All the things you've been sitting with, unsure about, debating internally, overthinking, or procrastinating on suddenly become obvious. Not because you force the answer, but because the energy stops allowing confusion to exist where truth is already present. This is a clarity-based portal, and when it opens, everything that's right for you feels unmistakably right, and everything that's wrong becomes uncomfortable to even pretend to tolerate. Under normal circumstances, people drift between maybes and half decisions. They make excuses, they talk themselves into situations that don't feel aligned, or they wait for the perfect timing that never seems to come. But this lunar window,
if you don't know what he's
support
talking about, he's
indecision.
talking about the
The
January
supermoon magnifies your
super
natural
wolf moon.
knowing, the instinctive yes or no
Super
that usually
bright,
gets
super
buried under
wolf moon.
fear,
It's amplified.
doubt, or overthinking. Suddenly, the signal becomes louder than the noise. You don't have to interpret anything, you feel the truth immediately. What's beautiful about this process is how peaceful it feels. You're not wrestling yourself into choices, you're not battling your mind for clarity, you're simply noticing what feels alive and what feels outdated. In relationships, you'll sense who brings expansion and who drains your energy. In goals, you'll recognize which ones inspire movement and which ones collapse the moment you imagine working toward them. Even habits, environments, and routines give off clear signals. Either they match where you're going or they don't. Clarity is the universe's way of freeing you from the weight of pretending you don't know the answer. And tonight, that freedom becomes impossible to ignore. What makes this supermoon so powerful is that it doesn't push you toward emotional healing or deep introspection. It pushes you toward decisiveness. This kind of clarity saves people months of confusion. It saves them from repeating cycles they already outgrew. It saves them from investing in things that were never designed to move forward with them. And it saves them from the emotional exhaustion of constantly trying to decode mixed signals that deep down they already understood. The supermoon's gift is certainty, the rare kind that can alter the trajectory of your entire year. Because once you see the truth this clearly, you can't unsee it. And that's the point. The lunar portal doesn't just want you to notice what's aligned, it wants you to choose it. It wants you to step into the version of yourself who no longer doubts their own knowing. And the moment you embrace that clarity, something even bigger begins to activate, not in the sky, but in you. The moon doesn't open the portal, you do. Here's the deeper truth about this supermoon, the part people rarely talk about because it isn't as dramatic on the surface, but it is absolutely life-changing once you understand it. The portal everyone references isn't an external doorway hovering in the sky. It's not some mystical curtain splitting open above your head. The real portal is internal. It opens inside your decisions, inside your willingness to move, inside the part of you that knows this year is supposed to be different and is finally ready to cooperate with that knowing. This is why tonight feels charged in such a specific way. The moon's power isn't forcing transformation. It's amplifying your readiness to begin the version of your life you've been circling around for months. That's what makes this supermoon so important. It aligns the internal and external worlds just enough so that your choices finally have the space to take root. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need ideal circumstances. You don't need pressure. You just need motion. A new timeline doesn't open when the moon rises. It opens when you rise with it. And tonight, that rising happens the moment you choose forward movement over familiar hesitation. This portal activates in the instant you say, I'm not waiting anymore. What makes this supermoon unique is that it doesn't activate through emotional
I have all my crystals out.
or spiritual labor. It
They were out Thursday morning and evening. Today, was it? No, not Thursday, Friday morning. And they were under the moon last night. I'm thinking I'm going to leave them under the moon tonight and tomorrow night. There was no sun today, but there was yesterday a lot of sunshine on my crystals. So I am charging all of the crystals.
Life becomes sharper. The next steps feel clearer. You feel more like the version of yourself you've been trying to grow into. The supermoon isn't handing you a new life. It's handing you the green light to step into the one you've been preparing for. The empowerment of this moment is that it puts the steering wheel back in your hands. The moon expands the field of possibility, but you choose the path. The moon clears the fog, but you decide the direction. The moon amplifies courage, but you take the step. And once you do, you'll feel something shift immediately. A quiet but fierce sense that the year has finally begun in the way that matters. This is the energetic birth of 2026. Not the calendar reset, not the countdown. The final portal activation happens the instant you recognize that this supermoon is not happening around you, it's happening through you. And from the moment you accept that, the year doesn't just start, it unlocks. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel
I traveled all the way to Allentown, Pennsylvania to go undercover in the Unkillable Kitchen and answer all of the juicy questions everyone's been.
James Kaufman, World News Report today. The wolf moon is the first full moon of the year. This is occurring tonight, January 3rd. It's named for the increased howling of wolves in the midwinter cold when food is scarce, though modern science shows they howl for communication all year long, not just when they're hungry. It's a time for renewal, often appearing clearer and brighter in crisp winter skies. And for 2026, it's also a supermoon because it's full near Earth's closest point, or perigee. Again, a supermoon occurs when a full moon coincides with the moon's closest approach to Earth in its elliptical orbit, a point known as perigee. Because it's near to Earth, the moon can appear up to 14% larger and 30% brighter than when it is at its furthest point, or apogee. This traditional name comes from Native Americans and European folklore, symbolizing survival and instinct. Of course, tonight's full moon is the first full moon of the calendar year, January 3rd, and it will be one of only 3 supermoons in 2026, although it was originally named because people thought that wolves were howling more in the winter due to hunger. We now know that they actually howl all year round for communication purposes. A symbol of winter's harshness, survival, and a time for inner reflection. Often, it looks brighter than any other supermoon and defined more because of the clear winter air reflecting off sometimes snow or ice. If you want to see tonight's full supermoon, wolf moon, well, you need to go out just after sunset
and look to the east. It should be extremely brilliant and large in the sky. God bless, folks. Please share and subscribe. And remember, anything's possible in the bizarro world.